This conference will now be recorded.
It's April 13th, 2020. The occasion is County Commission meeting of Humphreys County. The meeting is called to order. First item on the agenda is a prayer. Mr. Whitfield, are you on the call?
Yes, sir.
Will you lead us in prayer, please?
I will. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this day and the many blessings received from you. We ask that you continue to bless and watch over us. Heavenly Father, we also ask that you guide the hands of the world's medical field, that this dreaded viral disease soon will be no more. Help us here tonight to work for our county and let it come from our hearts, Heavenly Father, as we ask you to do the best for all. Please continue to guide us.
Very good. Thank you, sir. The next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, and all of you who are on the call with your computer, you can see the flag. Those of you who don't have one, please, despite that fact, please stand and join with me as we take our pledge. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America,
and to
the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under
God,
God, indivisible,
liberty, and
justice for all.
Very good. All right. Next item is the roll call, and we'll begin with Mr. Dillinger.
Yes.
Ms. Phillips.
yes.
Mr. Wagner. Mr. Wagner, I believe you're muted. Mr. Wagner, we can't hear you.
Jesse, we just barely can hear you.
You can't hear me?
We can now.
Okay. How about now?
That's good.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Hampton.
Here.
Mr. Jared.
Here.
Mr. Mayberry.
Here, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Rochelle.
Here.
Mr. Hurt.
Here.
Mr. Daniel.
Here.
Mr. Whitfield.
Here.
Mr. Hunt.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
Mr. Hooper.
Here.
Very good. Mr. Daniel, Mr. Wagner, we're not able to hear you. I'm gonna have to recommend that you disconnect your computer connection and call in on the line, on the telephone connection. And we're going to move on with the meeting. First item on the agenda is consideration and approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. You have those in your package. I presume that most of you have had an opportunity to look those over. Any discussion or corrections?
Move for approval.
No objection, we'll move on to the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Moving on to the next item, report and communication with the county executive. Commissioners, today the governor had a press conference in which he extended his stay-at-home order through the end of April. Those of you who are not aware, he further went on to extend the time frame for the same period of time of his executive orders 17, 21, and 23, which closes restaurants and other businesses and establishes that only essential activities can take place and reinforces the stay-at-home order. This will sunset at the first day of May, or the last at midnight on April 30th, and could be reinstated if we don't see an upward trend of the numbers, which now are measure 5,600 affected. Governor also said that he would have an announcement Wednesday as it relates to school opening. And with that, we'll move on to resolutions, first of which is debt management policy, confirmation and reapproval. This fulfills our annual responsibility and contributes to our eligibility to the 3-star program. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was discussed during the meeting, and this was unanimously approved to send on to this full board.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Dillinger?
Yes.
Can you mute your phone?
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Ms. Hampton?
Yes.
Mr. Jared?
Yes.
Mr. Mayberry?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes?
Yes.
Mr. Rochelle?
Yes.
Hunt?
Yes.
Mr. Hurt?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Whitfield?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Hooper? Mr. Hooper?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is Business Information Systems Contract for the Register of Deeds. Authorizes me to execute agreements with Business Information Systems to facilitate support of the processing of credit card payments at the Registrar's office. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was discussed and unanimously approved to send on to the full board.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniels.
Yes.
Mr. Dillinger.
Yes.
Ms. Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Hooper.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Mr. Hurt.
Yes.
Mr. Daniel. Excuse me, Mr.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mr. Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. Whitfield.
Yes.
Very good. Action is approved. Next item, electronic recording contract, Register of Deeds Office authorized me to execute agreements also with Business Information Systems to facilitate e-filing of records. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee. It was discussed and also unanimously approved to send to the full board.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Hearing none, without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
And Whitfield. Action is approved. Next item, TTL Incorporated contract for the jail. Authorized me to execute agreements with civil engineering firm of TTL for the pre-construction site studies at the proposed new jail site. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee. It was discussed and unanimously approved to send on to this full body.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Hearing none and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Barrett.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes, sir.
Phillips.
Yes.
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Next item, insurance recovery, Sheriff's Department, $1,000 reimbursement for the deductible associated with the loss of a 2010 Tahoe. This money is accepted into revenue and appropriated into the drug fund vehicle line item.
Yes, this was brought before the committee, explained, and it was voted unanimously to send on to this full board.
Heard the explanation, recommendation from Mr. Hughes. Any more discussion? Hearing none and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Hooper.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Mr. Jarrett.
Yes.
Mr. Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. Whitfield.
Yes.
Very good. That action is approved. Move on to the next item. Insurance recovery, Sheriff's Department, $23,495. Covers the complete loss of a 2016 Tahoe. This money is accepted into the drug fund and appropriated into the vehicle line item. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee, and it was discussed and unanimously approved to send on to this full board.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any more discussion? Hearing none and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Mr. Jared.
Yes.
Mr. Mayberry.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
Miss Phillips. Excuse me, Miss Phillips. Mr. Mr. Rochelle,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Whitfield.
Yes.
That action is approved. Next item, Sheriff's Department appropriation, $3,858.16. This accepts proceeds from a grant and appropriates it into the data processing line item. Mr. Hughes,
Yes, this was brought before the committee and approved to send on to this full board.
heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Hearing none, without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Mr. Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Mr. Hurt.
Yes.
Mr. Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
yes,
Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Mr. Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Next item, Sheriff's Department transfer $10,000, moves the amount from the guard's regular pay category to the guard's overtime line item. Ms. Hughes.
Yes, this was discussed and explained and voted on unanimously to send on to this full body.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Hunt.
Yes.
Mr. Hurt.
Yes.
Mr. Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
yes,
Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
That action is approved. Next item, also the Sheriff's Department, $35,000 appropriates new money into the drug fund vehicle line item. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee, explained, and was also voted unanimously to send to this full body.
Heard the report. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to the vote. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes, sir.
Phillips.
yes,
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
And Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Next item, also the Sheriff's Department. $23,924, proceeds from equipment sales, moves $20,000 into the workhouse small tools category, the remaining $3,924 into maintenance of vehicles. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee, explained, and voted on unanimously to send to this full body.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Hearing none, without objection, we'll move to the vote. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
yes,
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Very good. Action is approved. Move on to Veterans Service Organization. Appropriation $1,500 covers additional amount of needed for gasoline purchases through the remainder of this fiscal year. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee. It was explained and voted unanimously to send on to this full commission.
Very good. You heard the report of Mr. Hughes. Any more discussion? Hearing none and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Burt.
Yes.
Harried.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
yes,
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Moving on to the next item, the Election Commission transfer of funds in the amount of $408.10 moved from other salaries into the election workers category. It's no new money. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee and explained and voted unanimously to send on to this full body.
Heard a report from Mr. Hughes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Burt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
yes,
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Move on to the next item. A surplus. This declares surplus from the Sheriff's Department. 4 small utility trailers, 13 road vehicles, 4 lawn mowers, 6 kayaks, 2 outboard engines, 1 3-kilowatt generator, 1 golf cart, and 2 6,000-gallon tanker trucks. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, sir. That was explained and questions answered and voted unanimously to send to this full body.
Heard report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Hearing none, without objection, move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Mr. Dillinger.
Yes, sir.
Hampton.
Yes.
Mr. Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Burt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
yes,
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Next item, Equalization Board approves the reappointment of Raymond Brown, Clarence Duncan, Tommy Burkett, and James Brassfield to new terms ending March 31, 2022. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee. The names were submitted, and on a roll call, there was 12 yeses and 1 no.
You heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Hearing none, and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Coleman.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Burt.
Yes.
Jared,
No.
Mayberry,
Yes.
Phillips,
yes,
Rochelle,
Yes.
Wagner,
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
And that action's approved. Next item, volunteer sand and gravel. Mr. Whitfield introduced a resolution demonstrating opposition to the issuance of a TDEC permit needed for mining operations at the intersection of Burnhouse Road and Highway 13 South. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee, several questions, and it was on a roll call, voted 9 yeses and 4 noes.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
The chair recognizes Mr. Mayberry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion to redirect this proposed resolution to the Administrative Committee at our May 4 meeting. This would give us an opportunity to glean information from the TDEC question and answer session and public hearing on April 28th. And maybe we could have more information and make a more intelligent vote at that time. So I make that motion.
Thank you for the motion. There's a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Who was that, please?
Jared.
Mr. Jared. Have a motion and second. Discussion.
Mr. Wallace?
Mr. Whitfield,
Yes.
please.
After the April 28th meeting, I don't believe we will be in contact with TDEC really anymore regarding this. I may be wrong. Just thought I'd point that out.
Very good. Any other comments, discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes, sir. After the audio went out, I'd got the call, and I think it's kind of putting out maybe a terminology of we don't support it, and as far as countywide and from some truck drivers, and if they're going to be hauling and hiring them to haul the sand for them, that could be some opportunity for them and business. And I had called another one. He said it didn't really affect him, but when I asked him if he would haul, then it kind of changed his mind and said he would. And I'd talked to our local sand and gravel down here in my district, and they also said it would probably be good for the county because he's not getting hardly anything anymore. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Any other comments? Hearing no other comments, then we'll move to a vote on the motion on the floor, which is to table the action. We're going to recommit the action to the administrative committee on occasion of their May meeting. Did I articulate that correctly, Mr. Mayberry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's correct.
So without objection, we'll move on to the vote on the motion on the floor. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Dillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Hughes. Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Mr. Hurt,
Yes.
Mr. Jared,
Yes.
Mr. Mayberry,
Yes, sir.
Phillips,
No.
Mr. Rochelle,
No.
Mr. Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Whitfield.
No.
The vote is 11 in favor, 3 opposed. This action item will be remanded back to the Administrative Committee on the occasion of their May meeting. Moving on to the next item. USDA loan application for the jail. This authorizes county executive to make application to the USDA for a $15 million loan to finance a new jail building program with a minimum of a 2.375 interest rate for a term of 40 years. Approval of the loan contract would be required at a later date. Annual debt service would be approximately $600,000 a year, 12 pennies in property tax, $36 in wheel tax. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee. It was discussed, and on a roll call, there were 13 yeses and no nos.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any comments, question, discussion? Hearing none, and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes, sir.
Phillips.
Yes.
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Next item, USDA loan application for the school building project in the amount of $22,200,000. Same terms. Equal to approximately $900,000 a year in debt service. That equals 18 cents on the property tax at the current rate, or the equivalent of a $54 wheel tax, also at the current count. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee. It was explained, and on the roll call, it was 10 votes yes and 3 votes no.
Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Any discussion? Hearing none, and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Coleman. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Dillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
No.
Cooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
No.
Hunt.
Yes.
Hurt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Rochelle.
Mm.
I didn't get that, Mr. Rochelle.
Yes. As a grunt. Yes.
Mr. Wagner. Mr. Wagner.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Whitfield.
No.
Action is approved. Next item, uninsured MCS operations, Tennessee lease. Uninsured MCS operations, Tennessee lease suspension. This suspends the lease payment required for the utilization of the corporate hangar at our airport by the skydiving school, who is unable to operate due to the effects of the coronavirus until such time as conditions allow for the resumption of operations. I ran this by the comptroller's office, and they said that the commission could, with your approval, those lease payments could be suspended until we deemed appropriate for them to resume. Mr. Hughes.
Yes, this was brought before the committee, and it was approved on the recommendation that you found out from the controller's office.
Very good. Heard the report from Mr. Hughes. Is there any discussion, questions? Hearing none, and without objection, we'll move on to the vote. Coleman.
Yes, sir.
Daniel.
Yes.
Hillinger.
Yes.
Hampton.
Yes.
Hooper.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Burt.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Rochelle.
Yes.
Wagner.
Yes.
Whitfield.
Yes.
Action is approved. Any other business?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion, Mr. Rochelle.
Second.
Second, Mr. Who was that?
Whitfield.
Mr. Whitfield, thank you. Have a motion, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.